Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning to Australia. Commodity TV for you today, and we want to talk to Paul Huet, the CEO of Karora Resources. You remember a company which was bought almost 2 years ago, then really changed, and now they are producing gold at fantastic costs, profitable, and making a real shitload of money. Good morning, Paul. How are you doing?
Hey, Johan, good to see you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a while, and I can't wait to go with you on the road again and to see you again in person, of course. But as we know, this might take another half a year, maybe, but we will see and do our best what we can. Meanwhile, I would say we should talk on an update of your terrific company. I also should tell our viewers here that I'm a shareholder of the company for disclosure reasons, and what can I say? Net neutrality on CO2 emissions. I think this is one of the first mining companies, even in the world, having reached that. Paul, how did you do that?
Yeah, look, first and foremost, Johan, this was a big initiative sponsored and really pushed down from the board of directors. This was something that really mattered to our board. This was something that we believed we needed to be leaders and not followers. We wanted to be at the front of the pack. In fact, I'm going to tell you something here. I actually took the net neutral thing personally. Actually, most people know I'm living in Perth now. I actually bought a pedal bike, and I've been biking 21 kilometers to work and almost every day since I bought the bike, and I've biked about 380 kilometers to date. But every 100 kilometers I ride, it's 23 kilograms of less carbon dioxide that I offset in the world. So I took the challenge personally. But back to what we did as a company, I think it's very magnificent. Look, what we did is retired carbon offsets, and this is very important how we did it. We're looking at areas with bushfires here in Australia. But we have a lot of people, a lot of younger people, or maybe not younger people, people who, where it matters, carbon dioxide offsets, where they want to invest in companies that take this seriously. And we took it a step further by becoming carbon neutral this year. This is a big effort on our part, on our ESG front. Look, 3 years ago when you were covering me with a different company, I never even talked about net zero, Johan, or ESG. This thing we've been digesting this and absorbing this from a fire hose. There's so much information coming at us. The fact that we've taken it on head on, and we're looking at ways to be innovative in every area with our power generations, our power agreements, looking at renewable energies. All our steps in the future take ESG and net zero, and the path to net zero, very, very important. So our first step in 2021 of getting net neutrality was certainly a big initiative that I'm extremely proud of. I have had numerous people come to me, miners that, have said, younger people that said, look, I'm so proud to work for a company that can declare that it's net neutral. It certainly is. It's a different era, Johan. Mining is going to be different. I've mined 34 years. The next 3 decades are going to be a lot different for miners as we continue to evolve.
Can you explain to us a bit more in detail how you did it? Did you just buy carbon credit certificates? This is what we have in Europe, for example. Or did you say, no, we have to calculate what are the emissions, and then we are, I don't know, just to try to simplify, then we are planting a lot of trees and the forest? How did you do that? And what do you have to do for the next years then?
The first step is understanding your carbon dioxide emissions. That was a measurement that I never, ever measured. If you would have asked me this measurement 3 or 4 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to tell you what it was. We hired a group of experts. We are not experts at that. So we've hired people that are better than us, and they're called Net Zero. Actually, they're out of Toronto, a new company. They helped us calculate our complete carbon dioxide emissions. And in our case, we're emitting about 75,000 tons per year presently. And our objective is to continue to make sure that that goes down and down, even though, look, we're looking at doubling production. We're going from 100,000 ounces to 200,000 ounces. So we're even changing the way our ramp is designed so we could have different type of infrastructure in our ramp with larger overhead for different ventilation, for different electric equipment, for potentially electric monorails on the back in the future. Things have changed so much, even in the last couple of years, in the way we are even designing things. It's moving at a rapid pace here. So, we brought in experts to help us understand how much carbon dioxide we emit, and then this year we did everything we could as a company to reduce it as much as we can, and to get that net neutral this year, we were able to purchase offsets. And buying offsets is not just as simple as saying, hey, you can write a check and buy offsets. You have to make sure that you do your research, you do your work, you spend a lot of time making sure the real carbon offsets. Anybody can disclose, hey, I got carbon offsets, and they're not real. Look, these things, as you know, the rules are changing quickly. They're gonna be audited like IFRS stuff. Just the way we audit IFRS or GAAP measurements, these things are gonna be disclosed, transparent, audited. So it's really important that we take the right steps and we do this correctly here, and make sure we're protecting our shareholders.
Absolutely, yeah, and protecting finally the business, because I can imagine that you are now on the list of several more investment companies, because ESG is the big thing, and a lot of funds demand ESG ruling and really to stick to the rules. And as a miner per se, you are not ESG conform because you are a mine, but when you offset, I can imagine that you get much more interest. So that is absolutely fantastic.
You want to be one of the leaders, right? You don't want to be one of the followers, Johan. We've always said, look, we want to be different. How do we differentiate ourselves? This is a great way to step ourselves apart and differentiate ourselves and become leaders rather than followers. So again, I admit that I'm extremely proud of what we have done, our commitment as a board, our efforts as an executive team to get it done. I have had some very interesting creative meetings with my team on what's the future look like. And look, at the same time, we've got to make money. We can't ever forget that we're a gold company. We got to produce gold. We got to produce gold at a profit. So there's a balance in all this, and sustainability, and making sure that you're making a profit, and not diluting our shareholders along the way. So.
Absolutely. Super. Yeah, making profits. Let's come to your latest news. This is just from 15th November. Congratulations on your new discovery. And you had the widest intercept to date at Beta Hunt with 1.5 grams gold per ton over 90.5 meters. But in that was 40 grams gold per ton over 4 meters. And this was intersected beneath the 50C nickel trough. And I must say, this is outstanding, right? Because this is not only smoke, there is really fire. There's really something going on here.
Actually, let me just clarify that, Johan. There's two separate districts. That 4 meters of 40 gram was in a new area south of the Gamma Island Fault. So we had a new nickel discovery that we announced, the 50C zone, and we're very excited about this 50C zone. We're still awaiting assays, but we did disclose some of the assay results, 6 of the holes that had 50C, 2.2 meters of 4%, 5.3% across 3.5 meters. So we have disclosed the results that we already got, but not unlike other areas within Beta Hunt, below the nickel in the basalt, there's gold here, and that's what we have been mining so far at Beta Hunt. Beta Hunt was a nickel mine 40 plus years. We're mining the gold below the nickel. So this new package that we've discovered south of the Gamma Island Fault, the 50C, we have a gold intercept, which is our first gold intercept in this new zone, in a new area. We don't have any resource out there. We don't have any reserves out there. This is a brand new district, new zone for us. So when you intersect 44 meters of 40 gram, that's as you said, that's not a target. That is something very, very exciting to be following up on. So as you can imagine, we are following up. And as you said, we had that very, very wide intercept. Like it was 1.5 gram, but look, there are people that can make really good money 1.5 gram across that width. You're talking 90 meters here, almost 300 feet wide here, a football field wide. You could drop your mining costs down to a third. You could be mining less than $30 a ton. We're not there yet. Look, but the fact that we've had that new hole, the widest hole ever, coupled with that new discovery of 4 meters of 40 gram, there's been quite a bit of excitement and things are buzzing around here as we continue to deliver quarter after quarter after quarter, and had a record quarter on ounces produced as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we come to that in a second, because you just named the nickel thing. How important do you rate the nickel for the future? Because it looks to me like with those results you have shown so far, they are exceptional, and it could quite be a substantial amount of money be generated in byproduct credits, right?
Look, let's just consider that Beta Hunt was around for, as I said, call it 40 years, Johan, as a nickel mine here. Nickel is such a differentiator for us. What a way to hedge against gold prices. We have a mine where we put in infrastructure, where we drill holes. Our exploration, we drill one drill hole, it goes through gold and then it hits nickel, or reverse. We're drilling from the top down, it hits nickel first, then into gold, but we're using the same infrastructure to extract both the gold and the nickel. So sharing the fixed costs with all the waste development, the sustainable development, the management, everything here. Nickel, we have seen so far, $35 to $40 an ounce. So every ounce we produce, $35 to $40 an ounce saving, just as a byproduct credit. And listen, we've been mining our nickel only remnant areas here. We've been focused on the gold, but now that we've had new nickel discoveries with the 30C zone, the 50C zone, we're going to start putting miners into new nickel areas rather than remnant areas. We're very excited about this. We don't have a perfect mine plan on it yet, but here's what we can say. We've already realized that $35 to $40 per ounce saving, mining at about 2,000 tons a month. It's been pretty light. We're talking 4 miners here, not a whole lot. Most of our guys are 98% of our people are focused on the gold. So once we put our miners and understand the nickel zone, the 30C and the 50C better, we're going to be able to double or triple our production from those areas, rather than mining remnant areas that are much more challenging. They're a lot harder to mine remnant areas, going to find older pillars in an area that's been around 40 years. We're going to brand new areas, the areas that we've discovered that are brand new. We'll put together mine plans. So 2022 is going to be an exciting year for us. It's a hedge against gold. It's a massive differentiator for us. We've seen grades anywhere from 10 all the way to 18%. The last line of holes we've seen in our nickel, Johan, in the 50C, we have the 26 holes that we have. We're awaiting 20 holes for assays. Our last hole, we have hit good sulfide in it, 932 meters south of that, directly south of it. We have very little information between it, but we have a hole, it's 9.8 meters of almost 10 to 11%. So almost a kilometer south on a similar strike here, we have another hole, an exploration hole that was drilled years ago. So we're going to be drilling in between this, but the nickel just offers so much upside. And again, where we see nickel, we've seen gold, and you can't get a better example than the whole mine that we're mining is below the nickel, the gold. And then that most recent result that we just announced of 4 meters of 40 gram in our new area of the 50C zone. So look, we're very excited. Our geology team is very excited at understanding the nickel and the gold in this area. Our mining is all north of that. This is, again, a Gamma Island fault. We have no mining to south of that. We're going to start putting in some infrastructure by the end of this year, early next year, so we can start drilling. Everything we're mining is to the north of this area. So we have a massive strike length on 2,000 square kilometers, Johan, on a district that hasn't been drilled in 2 decades. We unlocked the royalties with Morgan Stanley first. And I know this is repeating myself, but it's worth repeating time and time again, because every ounce we produce from Higginsville saves about $46 an ounce. Every ounce we save at Beta Hunt is another about $45, $46 an ounce. Almost $100 an ounce in the reductions from our savings on renegotiating the Maverick royalty and then eliminating the Morgan Stanley NSR component. That's for life here. So these things here add value for our shareholders every ounce we produce.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We're now drilling like a lot here. Our drill program has stepped up $20 million in a district that had, by comparison in previous years, $300,000. So you can see some of the results of our drill bit and why we're so excited about it. And
super.
At the same time as we're doing this, and I talked about a balance, we're delivering that consistent production. Johan, we've had 9 quarters in a row since buying the mill. Since the first quarter, 9 quarters in a row, consecutive quarters of consistently hitting our targets on our production and meeting our guidance on our costs. That's not luck. You don't get 9 quarters in a row in our industry by luck. It's by consistently putting together a plan, following a plan, and making sure we execute and deliver safely on that plan.
Absolutely. And you did that also in the last quarter. I mean, again, a record quarter. And 2 things what I really personally like a lot. You have like $86 million in the bank. That's the one thing. And on the other hand, you really brought down your cost again. Now we are talking already below $1,000 AISC. And I have a very good feeling that you will do that the next quarters also. So the guidance was 105 to 115,000 ounces for this year. I think you are closer probably to the higher end, right?
Yeah, look, we've set ourselves up to, provided everything continues to go as planned, we should end the year very, very much in line with that guidance. The first 3 quarters, we really, really have done well. Q4 is halfway through. That guidance is a very good number. I don't want to put anybody outside here, but that guidance is a good number. And our efforts on driving down costs, you saw them in the end of Q3 here, where we were just under that $1,000. And that nickel has a lot to do with it. $35 to $40 an ounce. You think about that's meaningful. That matters to us. It matters because that goes right to our shareholders. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, that's right, definitely. And I mean, at 200,000 ounces, I just did my math. I mean, if we talk about savings in the royalties of $100 per ounce, we talk about like 20 million here.
Yeah, look, and that's rough numbers, but you're right. That's a good way to use it.
That's
you're right
amazing.
At 95, but rounding up, that's a good way to. That's exactly correct here. And look, that's not far down the road here. We're last year was our first year ever as a gold company. 2020, people forget sometimes, they compare us, but these guys, and I go, well, just don't forget they've been around for 7, 10, or 12 years. We have 1 year. Last year was our first year. This is our second year here. We stepped up our guidance by 21% year over year. This year, when many, many, many companies in the world, and Australia specifically, have been downgrading guidance, we stuck our necks out and said, not only are we comfortable that we're going to maintain guidance, we're going to put out guidance for the next 3 years, and we believe our range is going to double from 180 to 200,000 ounces. Now that is one heck of a step forward here, and we have that confidence because we're keeping our story simple, Johan. We're actually repeating what we've done. So if I look back in time here, when we got here 2 years ago, our infrastructure, that Beta Hunt produces, if we do 30,000 ounces a quarter, which is consistent with what we're doing, 20 to 22,000 ounces come from Beta Hunt. So if you just keep that in the back of your mind, you go, all right. When we got here, we were struggling to get 35,000 tons a month out of Beta Hunt. Today, 2 years later, we get 80,000 tons. So we've more than doubled the tonnage. So 80,000 tons consistently out of Beta Hunt. You multiply that times 12, that's just under a million, 960,000 tons a year. That 960,000 tons, we're getting that consistently. We're delivering month after month after month. What we're going to do is that same infrastructure where we went from 35 to 80,000 tons, we're going to repeat it. So let's not complicate our story. In fact, let's keep our story simple. If 960,000 tons a month is equivalent to about 22,000 ounces a quarter, 960,000 tons a year, my apologies, is equivalent to 22,000 ounces a quarter. That's what, 90,000 ounces a year. So 1 million tons, 90,000 ounces. If you just double that and you say, okay, well, if they just do what they've already done, let's not get smart or reinvent the wheel, launch a man to the moon. Let's just keep the Karora story simple. They're doing 1 million tons out of Beta Hunt. That's what they're doing. That gets them about 90,000 ounces. If they put in the second ramp, which is what we're going to do, we double the production out of Beta Hunt. We have plenty of stopes underground, and we continue to extend new areas and strike length, like these new discoveries that we're having here. So we double the production because our bottleneck is the ramp. Then we get to 2 million tons. That's a pretty high tonnage mine here. And if you have similar grades, you're already at the 180,000 ounces a year with nothing from Higginsville.
From the rest,
so you can see that the recipe here, you go, well, that seems like it's not complicated. They've already done it, in fact. They've already went from 35,000 tons a month to 80, which people said we couldn't do. No way they're going to do it. We're doing it consistently 6 months in a row. So we're already there. All we got to do is repeat what we've already done. And the team we've got on the ground here is up for the challenge. We've got Graham Sloan. We've got some very strong GMs here on the ground that are committed. They're here for the long haul, and they are delivering. They're excited about the growth plan. They're excited to be part of a company that is growing. And again, they're up for the challenge. The next bottleneck is the mill, as you know. In order for that tonnage to it has to go through a plant. So in order for us to double the tonnage, we got to get bigger plant size. And I haven't even talked about the upside of Higginsville, Johan. You know, we've got a lot of exciting things happen at Higginsville as well. Beta Hunt is the flagship today. That could change from drilling. We've got some very good early success at Lake Cowan. It's been really phenomenal. We've started Aquarius underground. We've got some exciting grades here, small tonnage, but very high grade. We've got that new ramp at Two Boys that we're very excited about, taking a bulk sample out of there and doing some drilling. So we've got a lot of things on the go at the same time that are certainly creating shareholder value.
Great. 200,000 ounces by 2024. So what is the plan for next year? You must be already then at 130,000, right?
Yeah, look, we haven't put out guidance next year. But look, we did put out the guidance, the range, right? And so this year, yeah, you're right about right. I believe what we said next year was it was a pretty high range. I think you're right. I think it was between that 120 to 140. So right around that. That's what we put out for next year. So we haven't put out formal guidance yet. We're going to be doing that. Look, we're working on the budgets now. You know, we wanted to have a new resource and a reserve statement. It got pushed into Q1 of 2022. Not the end of the world, but it does make the mine planning a little more challenging because we're using older models. We would prefer to use up-to-date models. Not the end of the world by any stands. We have a lot of drilling that we want to incorporate in these new models. Our biggest challenge has been, you know, we've been in similar situations as others with assay turnaround. We're struggling on getting turnaround time for assays. That's why we actually started our own facility here on the ground to reduce some of that workload from the other commercial labs and try to give us better turnaround time for our production stuff.
Okay. Guessing you are achieving, and I'm sure you will achieve those 200,000 ounces in 2024. Where do you see a potential mine life with, let's say, the drilling you are now doing, maybe a new resource reserve statement? Because I did also my calculations, and my feeling is even at 200,000 ounces, you might easily have a 10-year plus mine life, right?
Yeah, I should know it right. I believe our total reserve is 1.3 million. It's a big number, and I don't know it at the top of my head. I'm sorry. I apologize. It is a changing number. It's going to be growing. I know what we disclosed in last time we put out a resource and reserve statement was December of 2020. So I've seen a lot of numbers go through my mind on some of the updates. So I know that when we put out the new resource and reserve statement in the first quarter of 22, we have a lot of drilling to incorporate in the new numbers.
Exactly. Super. That sounds like a great plan. So last question, when can we expect some dividends?
Look, dividends are not something we would ever say no to. I think it's something we should always be looking at. Obviously, the number one thing we want to do is make sure we're fully funded for that growth plan that we have in front of ourselves. I know that shareholders would be quite upset with me if I actually fell short for any reason and needed to raise money and dilute them because I paid a dividend. But dividends are, I will say this, dividends are certainly not out of the question. They're certainly on our radar without doubt. Let's get us to the growth plan and get the growth plan delivered and get that consistent delivery like we have been doing. And it's certainly going to be a good discussion point after we get this growth plan under our belts.
Okay, super. That's a great final statement. Thank you very much, Paul, because we are approaching now half an hour. That's really long.
Yeah, but it was always, a 5-minute meeting, you told me.
Yeah, that's what you told me. No, but always a big pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much. And also talking as a shareholder, thanks for the fantastic work you and the team is doing here, because this is really outstanding and very rare. But I knew it when you called me for Karora, I knew you're going to make it again. So I had no doubt, because you are the guy who really delivers. And this is important, what matters. So thank you very much. Also, best regards to your wife. And I wish you all the best. Merry Christmas. Maybe we talked before in a short update, then really short update interview when you have more essay results back and go a bit into detail. But by the way, by now, keep safe. Thank you very much. And all the best to Australia.
Thanks, Johan. All the best to you as well.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. We'll do so. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Paul Huet, the CEO of Karora Resources. And you heard it. They are CO2 neutral. This is exactly how we want to see mining, not only fulfilling the, let's call it the ESG criteria, but also really do something to offset carbon emissions. This is really something which is big, because I can really imagine they got some new investors through that, as a lot of funds really are looking very, very carefully when they invest in mining onto things like CO2 emissions. On the one hand, on the other hand, drill results are outstanding. They found also a lot of nickel, and you heard Paul, there is under the nickel is gold also. It's a beautiful luxury problem to have, and we really like what we see. Also, the step out 932 meters down. This is fantastic, because in between into the strike, I can imagine there's a lot more. And the company is financially super safe and sound with over $85 million in the bank. They are fully funded. $20 million goes in exploration budget, meaning in drilling for the future of the company. And we look really forward to the new resource and reserve statement in Q1 2022. Thanks for watching us. I really urge you have a very, very close look at Karora Resources. It is a fantastic company. We have put already onto the company a $10 target over the next 2 years, and we are very confident that Paul and the team will achieve that. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.